nonpartisan group. Our mission statement is to encourage civic engagement, promote fact-based information, and then help enact policies that best serve the if you would like to be on our email list and are not currently, I'm going to pass this around to pen with it. And then also we don't charge any, we would appreciate that. I'll pass this, deduct it for not incorporated so much. So I'm really excited to have a good turnout. Next time I know to tell people to bring fans. First 30 minutes are dedicated to the candidates that are running for mayor of Gettysburg Borough. There are 2 Democratic mayors, so if you're registered as a Democrat, you will have the choice between the 2. And then, to my knowledge, there's no Republican. So the race will largely be. I think this is exciting that we have an important job. So in just a minute, after a few, Mayor Freeling is unable to attend, but Janet Powers has come in order to deliver a statement on her behalf so that everybody can give her their full consideration. And then we have Borough Councilman at who is the other candidate. He'll be speaking for about 5 minutes. We will have Q&A. Mike ask a question. He asked it for this part that only residents of ask questions. 30. Loli over here is moderating that. I sent around the basket. I just have 2 other announcements. One is that we are also organizing demonstrations at the Peace Light on April 27th, that's a Sunday, from 1 to 3 p.m., and then May 26th, which is the Sunday of Memorial Day Defense. We're intentionally doing this at Gettysburg National Military Park because there have been changes to funding, support for the National Park Services, so we will be showing our support for the personnel, for the park, for the visitors who come, and we're going to have information to hand out. You're welcome to bring signs, but we're going to have information about the impact of the park. Quite frankly, it brings a lot of money to Adams County, having that attraction, and I think most of us would agree, whatever our politics are, we want to protect the economic viability and vibrancy of our county. So if you're on our email list, our social media, also follow the Gettysburg Connection, Gettysburg Times. We try to put out press releases. And then we're working on another initiative coming up. In June, we're going to have a meet and greet with some nonprofits for people to get to know them. We're looking at strengthening our relationships, getting people like those of you that are sitting in these chairs involved with them because they really take care of different kinds of needs for different people in our county. So some of them are looking for potential volunteers, some are looking maybe to recruit board members. There's no obligation, but I hope you'll keep your eyes out for that information because civic engagement is not just voting, it's not just running for office, it's also taking a part in your community. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Janet Powers, who is going to read the statement from Mayor Freeling, and then Chad Allen Carr will follow.
Okay.
See, school district, you can't do that.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for the clarification. 4 years ago, Gettysburg made history twice over by electing Rita Frayling, an African-American woman, to the position of mayor. Unfortunately, she is unable to be here tonight, but I have volunteered to read a statement on her behalf. And I think it's important to know that Rita Frayling has an impressive list of accomplishments. all of which demonstrate how exceedingly well qualified she is to continue to serve as mayor of Gettysburg. Rita knows Gettysburg well. She was born just outside town and graduated from St. Francis Xavier School and Gettysburg High School. She also spent a year as an AFS exchange student in Turkey, Istanbul. From there, she went on to study at Penn State main campus, where she majored in political science and was a member of Penn State's award-winning cheerleading team. Rita next earned her JD, her law degree, from Penn State Dickinson Law School, and became a member of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court Bar Association. After a brief stint as a TV news anchor, she served as executive policy specialist in the Pennsylvania governor's office. For a number of years, she was director of the Dauphin County Domestic Relations Office, where she supervised a staff of 89 who established and endorsed child support orders. Her later experience at the Pennsylvania Department of Education included serving as Director of Government Relations and then working with the Pennsylvania state system of higher education, which included, but no longer included, 14 universities. She was a liaison for the Executive Vice Chancellor as well as Director of Public Liaison to the media. Adding to her extensive experience in dealing with the public at the state level, Rita managed to become a licensed stockbroker with Smith Barney in Harrisburg. Since 2022, Rita Frayling has been the elected mayor of Gettysburg and has done her utmost to fulfill the official duties required of a Pennsylvania mayor. She oversees both the police department and the borough council, where she is mandated to break a tie vote. As mayor, she also officiates at weddings and represents the borough at various public events. Rita emphasizes that under her watch, the police department has added a mental health counselor to assist with difficult police calls. In addition, she initiated and officiated at the popular wedding vow renewal ceremony. Some of you may have participated in that in 2024 and will again in 2025. So well experienced in dealing with the public, Rita has welcomed numerous tour groups and sister city delegations. She continues to gladly appear at various business and public activities locally in an official capacity. She takes her position very seriously and notes that the role of mayor is one that reflects to the world the welcoming face and historic significance of Gettysburg. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Chad Allen Carr, and I am running for Borough of Gettysburg Mayor. Before I begin, I just want to make a comment there and clarify. I absolutely love Rita Frayling as a person. She was, as a matter of fact, the very first person that I told that I was going to run. I told her face-to-face in her office. It was a good meeting. And I believe that that respect is deserved by any candidate, any person in office, if someone's going to run against them. I do want to clarify, though, in regards to the mental health professional, the co-responder is what we call them, that happened not only because of the mayor, it also happened because of the 7 council members who have to vote on that budget to have that person. And I hope that we continue to have that person involved with the police department. And it also is helpful that WellSpan is paying for a large portion of that. So I do appreciate that comment. As I said, I'm Chad Allen Carr. I'm running for mayor of Gettysburg. For the past 17 years that I've lived here, I have worked to bring together people to share peace, love, and happiness and equality in Gettysburg. I don't know if all of you have heard of me or know of me, so I'm not going to say my whole resume at all because I don't have the time. We were only given 5 minutes, but I want to mention that I helped create two not-for-profit 501c3 organizations in this town, and I help bring. I've helped bring local, state, regional, and national conferences and events to Gettysburg to boost economy. I was a driving force before I was on council. I was a driving force for a non-discrimination ordinance in the borough of Gettysburg to help protect everyone, since state law in Commonwealth of Pennsylvania does not protect everyone with regards to discrimination. But now in the borough of Gettysburg, it does. I was elected to council as the member-at-large seat twice, and twice in the last 4 years, because I came in filling in a seat, but I was elected, not appointed, and I had to run again after filling the rest of that 2-year term. I'm running for mayor because I believe that leadership should be about collaboration, transparency, and proper oversight. You have probably heard, we'll go ahead and go to this next slide. This next slide here is the Borough of Gettysburg organizational chart as it currently is today. So you may or may not know about this, but the council members, there's 7, we have bosses, it's you. The citizens are our bosses, okay? The council of 7, I am just one. We have 2 per ward, Ward 1, Ward 2, Ward 3, and then 1 council member at large. Then we have a borough manager, the CEO of the organization, who oversees currently planning, human resources, parking, public works, engineer, emergency management, secretary, et cetera, and more. But those are the departments. Those are the departments. Over here under mayor, we have the police department. Here are the rest of the departments. We have the police department. But make sure that we are aware, it is the Borough of Gettysburg Police Department. It's a department in the borough. It is not its own entity. One department. And then all of these ceremonial duties here under the mayor. What I am proposing that can be done legally, I wouldn't speak before you if it wasn't. This is what it is right now, and that is the Commonwealth of PA Borough Code. If elected, this is what I would propose that it would be. Next slide. And I have been vocal about this since day one. I am very transparent. Anyone that knows me will tell you I'm very blunt and very honest. All of the departments of the borough of Gettysburg should be reporting to the borough council. The borough council hires and fires and creates the budget. So why is one department under the mayor? When we create the budget, we hire, we fire. But the day-to-day operations aren't being managed by the CEO of the organization and the borough council of 7. In my view, transparency and oversight is more and better and efficient with 7 elected officials instead of 1. So I would be signing that duty over to the borough council of 7. I'm going to wrap it up because I'm sure my time is up. I do have a website, a social media, and I encourage you to please ask me questions. I encourage you to meet with me. I want to hear from you and what your needs are for the borough of Gettysburg. I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. I thank you, Gettysburg Rising, for organizing this. I welcome your questions, ask for your support. My website is chadallencarr.com. That's my name. It does have a hyphen in there. Thank you again.
Does anybody have any questions?
Please come up to the mic. And so that it's in community media.
The mic here.
Oh, okay. Well, please pass her the mic.
Okay.
I'll stand at this one.
That's
Okay.
perfect.
I'll stand at this one.
Just so that you're on.
Check 2.
Thank you. Chad,
Hi.
you already serve on borough council.
That's correct.
So how would that work?
Great question. Thank you. If elected, so I am currently in a borough council member at large term, 3 more years. But if elected mayor, I would become the mayor. I cannot have both seats, and you shouldn't. I would become the mayor if elected. The council would then have to appoint someone temporarily until the next election, which has happened many times. Matter of fact, the 2 mayors before Ms. Freeling were appointed first. So to answer your question, someone would be appointed until the next election, which would probably end up being a special election. And then the borough itself would decide who is the council member at large seat. Thank you for the question.
If the police department were to move under the jurisdiction of the council, would that be a permanent move, or would it be at risk of moving back under the mayor's bailiwick?
Another great question. It is not a permanent move. It is not a permanent move. That would be something that would be called home rule, and that is a referendum vote on everyone's ballot, and that is a very long process. So no, it would not be. What I'm proposing, though, is that, and I'm a big advocate of this, just because something has been the same way for so many years doesn't necessarily mean it is the most efficient way that is protecting the taxpayer of the borough. I believe that transparency, proper oversight, proper budgeting will protect the borough. And so no, it is not forever. If I get elected mayor and that happens, and then I run again and someone else wins, they would have to. They have that choice. Yeah, it is not forever.
Hi, Chad Allen, Bonnie Grady. 2-part question. How long has the police department been under the mayor's purview? And do you know the history on that? Why it was singled out, why it was put over there instead of where all the other departments are?
Sure. I do not have the for sure answer, other than I believe it was 1822 when the borough of Gettysburg was founded. I think it's always been that way for as long as anyone can remember. The Commonwealth of PA Borough Code is very specific in that. But again, it doesn't mean it's the most efficient. And there are other boroughs that don't have it that way, because there is a way to do it in our Constitution. There is a way for that to happen. But no, I don't know the exact year, but it's been longer than any of us were around. Yeah.
Oh, yes, you have to be a member of the borough to ask a question. Anybody else? Come right over here.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Patty Lawson. I'm on Borough Council. I represent Ward 1. And I just wanted to say, because my colleague up there, who's done a great job, he's the mastermind behind Pride Week, which brings in a lot of revenue and diversity in our community each year. And I support Chad Allen Carr as mayor, and I'm one of 5 council members that are supporting Mr. Carr for mayor. So just wanted to go on record for that. Thank you.
Anybody else have a question? Nope. I guess.
Are you sure? I'm a pretty open I'm a pretty open book, and if I don't have the answer, I will find it and get back to you.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, ma'am.
So, let me find the fastest way to get there. Sorry.
And yes, I understand that there may be some concern about why only the borough can answer these questions. It's because only the borough votes for the mayor. You might very well have a Gettysburg PA 17325 address, but you don't pay taxes in the borough. You're not residents in the borough. You might be in Cumberland, but you don't have a mayor in Cumberland. You have township supervisors in Cumberland. I didn't write the rules, but you are a part of our Gettysburg School District, and we have some incredible candidates, some new and some hopefully returning very soon candidates. So, bravo for them running.
Just clarification, Chad. In order for the police department to go over there, you're saying it needs to be an amendment? The borough council can't just decide?
That's correct. The mayor has to actually sign over the authority to the council. It is written in the Commonwealth of PA Borough Code that the mayor can assign an officer and delegate any officer. It does not say an officer of what. It says an officer. And we are all actually sworn in officers, not badge and gun sworn in uniformed police officers, but it doesn't say that in the Commonwealth of PA Borough Code. And attorneys that I have spoken to agree. It does not say that. An officer could be, and they are also sworn in, the chief executive officer. The council are all sworn in. But the mayor, the code enforcement officer is sworn in. But the mayor can delegate the day-to-day operation management of the borough police department over. So to be very clear, the chief of police is still the chief of police. But the chief of police would be reporting to the council of 7 rather than the mayor of 1. I hope that clarifies.
I also just want to follow up and clarify that, because I've done some research on home rule, which is the other way, and Mr. Carr mentioned that. That's the other way that a borough like Gettysburg can change the reporting structure. And it's very complicated. It takes a referendum vote. You have to put together a committee of citizens. It usually occurs after a crisis, generally, when that happens. But and it goes back to like 1947. Philadelphia had the reporting structure that we had. And in 1947, Philadelphia changed to home rule. And in recent years, Carlisle has changed their reporting structure through home rule. Lancaster, Pennsylvania just recently changed to home rule. And I'll say as a council member, it's kind of it's an antiquated system what we have, in part because we're following the Pennsylvania charter. But it's very bifurcated because borough council hires and fires the police chief who oversees the police department. But on a day-to-day operation, it's not the CEO who manages, it's the mayor. And that is, it sets up a very, very antiquated system, and it complicates things. So, but I did want to mention about Carlisle and Lancaster because they've recently changed their reporting structure. It's working really well. So, thank you.
Any more questions? Oh, okay.
So once that, your suggestion were that to be elected and that followed, where would that leave you as a mayor? What would you be doing?
That's a great question. Can we go back to that slide? So all of the other duties of the mayor are very important. They're very, yes, they're largely ceremonial, or at least they have been. But there are so many things that the mayor could and should be doing, which include economic development, helping with that. A lot of people say that's not the mayor's job, but it could be, and it should be. The mayor of Gettysburg should be someone that is wanting to go to D.C., go to Harrisburg, talk to the powers that be, get some more money here in Gettysburg. As we all know, we have a very precious, wonderful town that is filled with a lot of properties that are not paying tax. So we get all of the tourists, and we get all the beat down of our streets and our pavements, our streets and our sidewalks, and with all of that. But we have a very small tax base. We need to get some help with that from Harrisburg and D.C. But I also think that the mayor could and should be working heavily with the Chamber of Commerce, with Destination Gettysburg, with the Adams County Economic Development Arm, to not just do all of the ceremonial duties, but to really help make sure that everyone that lives here, wants to visit here, works here, is always welcome, and that we can continue to bring more and more people here to celebrate Gettysburg together. But like I said, I don't see the concept of that it's the way that's been so for so many years of one department being out on its own reporting to one person when all the other departments And I get it. Police department's 24/7. I totally understand that and respect the police department. Look at my voting record. It proves that. But one department off on its own, instead of reporting to the 7 council members, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I don't want to see the borough going into any financial strain, any more financial strain than what we've already had.
I think we have one more question over here.
So it does make us curious. Why? What have you observed? What issues have there been that would lead you to feel that it's a better arrangement to have the police under the borough council? Have there been problems with the functioning that we've had for all these many years?
I believe there has been. And unfortunately, I'm not able to say certain things because we can't. Those things that council are privy to in executive sessions cannot be discussed outside of executive session. But when we look, numbers don't lie, and when you look at certain things in the budget that are way over budget and shouldn't be, we need to look at that. We need to look at that largely. And I believe that 7 council members, as I said before, is better oversight and transparency than 1. If there's not proper management going on with one department, how can this 7 council members fix it when they're not reporting to them? And who is responsible for the voting of the budget and the hiring and the firing? The council. But if we don't know what's going on in the day-to-day management and things are happening because it's over here on its own and not reporting to us, there's a problem. How are we doing? Okay.
Has the borough spoken to Mayor Freeling and asked her
Great
opinion
question.
on that? And what would that be? Has Rita made a response of any kind?
Great question. And I'm not here to badmouth Ms. Freeling. Like I said, I like Ms. Freeling a lot as a person. I respect Ms. Freeling. But yes, I personally have sat down with her several times. Yes, we've had conversations. We've tried to collaborate. We also have, a leadership meeting. The president and vice president and the chief and the mayor and the council, the borough manager, all have that leadership opportunity, that leadership meeting together to work through some things. I don't see enough productivity and success with that process.
So I have this back again. I'm just throwing this out because I get the sense we're running short on time, but it is something I would like to pursue with you at some point. One thing I did not notice or hear you mention, you have a strong economic vision for the borough, but I'm a resident here. I'm part of a community, and I believe now more than ever, we need to put some focus, and I'm not seeing it or hearing it from you, on the health of a community, a strong community, building a strong community. We're more than just a tourist destination. And I see Jenny's looking at her watch, so I don't want to belabor this point, but
No, I absolutely agree with you.
I need to know, because I don't see or hear you talking about any kind of community representation or community building vision. Although economics certainly is part of that, it's not the total thing.
No, I absolutely agree with you. There absolutely should be. There hasn't been a lot of that. I agree with you. There hasn't been a lot of that with mayor, and that could be a lot that the mayor could assist with as well. I totally agree with you on that. Again, I would like to thank you for your time. And if you didn't get to ask your question, or if you think about something later, I'm always available. I really, truly am. If you drive or walk down around downtown, you're going to see me walking. I'm always out and about. If you don't see me out and about, if you see me out and about, please stop me on the street and let's chat. If you don't see me out and about, you want to reach out to me. My name is Chad Allen Carr. I'm running for mayor, and that's pretty much my email address as well, Chad Allen Carr formayor@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chad Allen, and thanks again to Jan Powers for reading the statement for Mayor Freeling. I realize that we have a lot to accomplish tonight, and I'm sorry we didn't have more time, but I'd now like to invite our 6 school board candidates that are here. They're not the only ones running. Please come up and take a seat. So these 6 fine individuals are running for Gettysburg Area School District school board director positions. There are 4 openings. There are 4 slots that are people are leaving the board, and so ultimately in November, 4 people will be elected. We have closed primaries in Pennsylvania, which I hope most of you know by now. What that means is that you have to be registered as a Republican or a Democrat, and you only get to vote for your party in that election. However, school board members can cross-file, so some of these may be on both ballots, and they can tell you a little bit about that. So again, everybody's going to have about 5 minutes, I think, for ease. We're just going to go down the line. We're going to start with Dale Brennan, who is running for the first time for school board here, and just pass the mic when you're done. And then in order to keep the mics, the wireless mic with the candidates, if you could come up to this mic later at about 8 o'clock to ask your questions.
Thank you, Jenny, for having the forum. Thank everybody for taking the time out of their evening to join us here tonight. My name is Dale Brennan. I am running for school board. I have a very short resume. I was a public high school teacher in Maryland for 30 years. I taught government and advanced placement U.S. history. There will not be a quiz at the end of this. Virtually my whole adult life is dedicated to helping young people, helping them acquire the skills they need to make sure they have a bright future. So when people ask me why am I running for school board, the answer is simple. It's that. I want to continue helping young people. I want to be a voice on the school board for our young people. I want to be a voice, on the school board for somebody to listen to them. And I want to be an advocate for our young people on the school board. Now about this time of the year, my students who are seniors would start coming to me and asking me for college recommendation letters. And all I would ask for them is a list of all the honors they had received, a list of community service they had done, a list of extracurricular activities they had participated in, things that would spice up my recommendation letter. Well, my students who are strong in STEM came back with Math Honor Society. My students who are into the languages would come back with French or Spanish Honor Society. The students who are very artistic would be in the National Art Honor Society. But my advanced placement U.S. history kids didn't have anything like that. And so one year I started doing my research, started making phone calls, and by the end of that year, my school had a chapter of the Rho Kappa National Social Studies Honor Society. I can proudly say we were the first one in our county to have that. So now, the students who are strong in the social sciences had a way that their academic excellence could be recognized. They had something they could put down on their college application to help them be more competitive in getting into the colleges they wanted to get into. To me, that's part of being an advocate for young people. That's the attitude I'll try to bring to Gettysburg School Board. I haven't mentioned yet, but I was a coach for 15 years. I coached volleyball and baseball. For those of you that don't know, there's a little problem right now going on in Gettysburg with the coaching situation. Apparently there is a policy on the school board where coaches have their positions relisted at the end of every season, regardless of if that coach is retiring or resigning. 15 years I coached. I didn't have that specter looming over me when it came to the end of every season. I can't even imagine what it's like having to look at players at the end of a season and say, great job, guys. We did a lot this year. We've accomplished what we wanted to accomplish. I hope I'm back next year, but it's not my decision. You know, one of the things I love about living here in Gettysburg is our community. As a community, sometimes you have to trust school board members that they're going to do their research, they're going to talk to people, and they're going to listen to people. And then they're going to make an informed decision. New textbooks, technology for the classroom, school bus contracts. But being part of a community also means sometimes we have to listen to them. We have to listen to the students. We have to listen to the parents. Because maybe, just maybe, they might have a little bit more of a vested interest. And maybe, just maybe, they might know more than we do. To me, that's also being an advocate. And sometimes ceding that power. Running out of time? So in conclusion, and keeping on the coaching theme, when I was a coach, I had players of different races, different backgrounds, sometimes different languages, different sexual orientations, the whole gambit. But we came together to achieve goals because we knew that together we were stronger than we were as individuals. As a community, that's what we need to do. This is all about our young people. We need to come together so they have a brighter future. Again, thank you for being here tonight. Jenny, thank you. My name is Dale Brennan. I'm running for school board.
Good evening. My name is Donna Harrison, and I have had a lifetime commitment of serving children, looking for excellence in teaching, and my lifetime commitment has been right here in Gettysburg. I was born and raised here, went to school 1st through 12th. Back then, kindergarten was not available, so that kind of dates me. Went to Shippensburg University, got my teaching degree there, came back, and by February that year, I had a job teaching at Franklin Township Elementary. Awesome experience. And then I was a 5th grade teacher at the time, and Lincoln opened as a 4-5 building. So then I was moved to Lincoln Elementary, where I spent another 18 years teaching. So it was 12 years at Franklin, 18 years at Lincoln. There were a lot of things that happened at that building. I developed a lot of leadership skills with, I have a cohort that I didn't realize was even going to be here tonight, a good friend who we spent a lot of years teaching together. We started things like the LEAP program, after school programs, getting community members involved in our school because we felt that it was important that our community knew what was happening in our schools. I also had an excellent administrator who kept saying, go back for your certification in principalship. I'm like, nah, I love teaching. I don't want to be in an office. So I finally took him up on it, and about around age 50, I decided to go after my certification, and I came back with that degree. I was to stay in Gettysburg, but I thought, you know what? I don't want a principal's job unless it's in Gettysburg. It's where my heart is. Well, lo and behold, a year later, the principal at James Gettys retired, and I applied for the position, and I got it. I think it was because I said at the end of the interview, if I get the job, it's because I will now have walked in that Memorial Day parade as a student, as a teacher, and an administrator. I'm not sure if that's what did it. Anyhow, I spent 8 years then at James Gettys as the building principal. It was an awesome experience, just an awesome experience. I had great leadership at the top, people who supported me. We started programs. I was one of the very first people at James Gettys. We started the Ruth Harvest program with the assistant superintendent and a parent who came to me and said, can we do this? And I'm like, absolutely, this is important, let's do it. So I spent, and then I retired. And I don't know that I was ready to retire. So I went to the college, spent a couple years there, supervising student teachers, and pulled up to James Gettys one day dropping off a grandson. I still have commitment to this district. I have 4 grandchildren in this district. And there's this big sign that says, we're desperate for subs. It didn't say it that way, but you could read into it. And I thought, oh, I can sub. I love teaching. I can go in. And so I've been subbing ever since. So I have been involved in the Gettysburg School District for well over 40 years. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Thinking about being a board member would be like the final step of this road in education. And I have attended many board meetings. And when I first attended my first board meeting, I was so excited, like as an administrator, this is so exciting to be here. And one of my cohorts said, just wait. But I enjoyed those school board meetings. You know, you get to know a lot. You get to know, but the whole purpose of a school board is to make decisions that are in the best interest of all children. All of our children, regardless of race, regardless of their economic background, they are entitled to have an excellent education. So that's where I stand with education. And I hope, you know, I've developed a lot of leadership skills. I know how school board meetings run. I can tell you right now, I don't know the very specifics of what's happening on our board right now. I would learn that. If I got elected, I would have to spend a lot of time. I remember when I went to James Gettys as a principal, I was a 4-5 teacher for a lot of years. I went to James Gettys, it was a K-3 building. Oh, this is a little nerve-wracking for me. I didn't know K-3 kids, but it was a learning curve for me, and I learned them. I had great teachers that helped supported me with that. So that being said, I am willing to take the time to learn what I need to know about what's currently happening on the board and how we can make decisions that are in the best interest of our children, of our parents, of our staff, and of our community. Thank you.
Did you mention that under your leadership, James Gettys School was a Blue Ribbon Award winner?
And I'm going to take this for a minute. That award is given to 0.5% of schools in Pennsylvania. So it was a very, very special award for us. But I can tell you, I didn't do that. I had a staff that was awesome. And it was because of them. Sure, I had the leadership skills, but if you don't have the staff to follow those leadership skills, it doesn't. But I was going to mention that, and I just didn't. So thank you.
Give credit where credit is due, absolutely. You are a very hard act to follow, so I will do my best. Hello, I'm Kathleen Pratt. And it's so good to see people here tonight who I know, and it's also good to see a lot of people here tonight who I haven't met yet. And this is an open invitation, if we haven't met, if you can stay just a few minutes after tonight, just say hello and tell me your name. I would just like to meet you. So while you are such a hard act to follow, I've got to get my head on straight here. I feel like serving your community is something that is almost an obligation for every citizen. And we can do that in many different ways. I have been serving the communities that I've lived in since I was 14 years old, and I volunteered to be a candy striper at our local hospital. I'm happy to say, yes, right, yay. I'm happy to say that I'm now a trustee of the Adams County Library System. And in those years in between, and I'm not going to give you the number, I've done so many very different types of service activities in my community. I have one very, very small little promotional piece, I suppose. It's this little card. But if you happen to take one, there are 3 statements on the front of this card. The 3 statements are this: I value every student, I support our teachers and staff, and I will listen to you. And those are not just pretty words that a candidate says when she wants you to vote for her, although I do want you to vote for me, so keep that in mind. But I did serve on our school board. I served 1 4-year term in 2017 to 2021, and every one of those statements can be verified in actions I took as a board member, the way I voted, the way I interacted with our community. So they are true, they are verifiable, and they are who I am. I moved to Gettysburg 26 years ago with my husband, Mark, and we raised our 2 children here. Both of them are proud graduates of Gettysburg Area High School. And I am a business person. I hold an MBA. Boy, I need to say this way. I'm a business person turned business professor. So I hold an MBA, so I understand business decisions, and those are important decisions to be made on a school board. I spent many happy years as a business professor at HAC. I'm now a business professor at McDaniel College, where I teach courses such as ethics in business. Yes, ethics. And more important now, I guess, than maybe ever before. Okay, so what else do I want to tell you about myself? So here's a question you must be asking. Kathleen, you served on the board from 2017 to 2021. Why do you want to come back? Why are you coming back? 2017 to 2021, that was an unprecedented time in all of our lives. Those were the pandemic years. We are back in unprecedented times. Our school budget is facing a potential hit of $1 million with the change in our federal Department of Education. And you may ask yourself, where does most of that money go in our district? It goes to our most vulnerable students. It supports our reading teachers in our K through 5 buildings, all 3 of them. Pays their salaries, their benefits. That money helps us teach our most vulnerable children to learn to read, which is the most fundamental thing any student needs to know to survive and thrive. So I hope to come back to the school board, join the other 8 members of it, to be part of the solution moving forward. The solution to protect our children and also to care for the interests of our taxpayers, who also will be impacted by this $1 million cut. So thank you again for your time.
Hello, everyone. First, I want to thank Jenny for setting this up. I want to thank all the candidates that we have here. When I go around to the different precincts and talking to them, I say we're very lucky. We have, depending which ballot you're looking at, 7 or 6 possible candidates for school boards. There are places that don't even have enough. So you're lucky. We have 6 here. One's in the audience, and the other gentleman I don't think could make it today. But you have a choice, and I am so glad that you came here to find out what you can do, whether if you're voting in the Democratic side, there's 7 names. You can vote for 4. On the Republican side, there are 6 names you can vote for 4. I did cross-file, because one of the things I care about is that really politics doesn't belong in our school. We have to get voted in with those politics, but it's all about the children. And one of the reasons that I'm running for the school board is that I truly believe that they are the investment in our future. Our students today are going to be our future caregivers, our future artists, our future tradespeople, our future explorers, and careers we don't even know what they're going to be, but they're doing there. And our job, or as I see the job on being on the school board, is that we provide the training and resources to help every student follow their dream and be able to be productive adults in our community. We moved here about 8 years ago. Before that, I was a program manager for the Navy. What that entailed is being a leader of teams of all different backgrounds. So I had my training people, I had my engineers, I had my budget people, I had my lawyers, I had my contracting people, and a whole other slew of people. And part of my job was to listen respectfully to everyone that brought their specialty to the table. Tell me what their recommendations were to whether make that piece of software, that piece of hardware, that missile, or that airplane fly safely, and that it would be successful, that the sailors and Marines would be able to successfully operate those vast machines, helicopters, you name it, whatever they had to work with. It was my job to listen to everyone. I couldn't, and then you had to pick which met the requirements. What is our requirements? To raise educated children that have the knowledge and skills to be contributing adults to our community. But to do that, you need a team. And as part of the effort, you have the board. It's really more of an oversight, looking at everything, help making the hard decisions. You have your teachers, the faculty, and staff. They're the hard workers that are going to be doing all the hard work. You have your parents. You have the rest of the community, because the rest of the community fundamentally provides the money. And that's really, we can't get things done without the funding. So that was to look at the balance of all those. We may not always have the best item. In the Navy, we would have your threshold, which is your minimum requirement objective would be the big gold-plated one. We always tried to go for that Goldilocks solution, somewhere in the middle so that maybe it would last a little longer than the threshold item, but not so gold-plated, so fancy that it took forever to maintain, and then I would hear from the logistics, why did you do something so hard? So I have that background, and part of my job is I didn't have to be a teacher. I didn't have to be a software engineer. I didn't have to be a helicopter pilot. But I would listen to everyone. I could understand their information, and they moved forward. And from my perspective, looking at that, there's things that the school has to do that I can do, I can work to. One of the things that is a concern, in addition to the funding cut from our federal source of funding, it's about 1%, but it's a nice cushion that'll be eaten up. Across the state, that's 10%. Our budget is built up from the state contribution. So right now, they have a plan of a certain percentage, but if that 10%, because the state's not getting the money, then that means we might get even 10% less if they peanut butter the information around. Don't know how it is. That's one of the challenges that the school board has to deal with this year. We also have to look at our VOTEC. I had an opportunity last week to visit the Adams County Technology Institute. It's a wonderful thing. It's a gem, but we've outgrown it, and it needs to grow. And there's going to be, Sean Eckenrode, the administrator there, is going to be going around to all the associated districts to ask to build the authority so that we can build a larger building that can handle. Right now, I won't do public math and numbers, but it looks like they want to at least almost double, triple the number of students they have, add about 6 or 7 more programs. And one of the key things is you have, and he likes to use it, and I believe it on our teams, you have your postgraduate smart person, your doctor. Your doctor may have 2 nurses that also have the graduate work, but all the people that support him, let's say in the hospital, is about 7 people. That's 70% of our students that might be able to go out and do a variety of vocational work. So that's the background I bring differently, but also, just so I'm not too much bossy or everything, I'm also a mom. I raised 3 children. I have 4 grandchildren. I know what it's like to have a job outside of the home, raising your kids, and still trying to get everything done. Thank you. Julietta Bose. Julietta Bose.
All right, thank you. That's so far 4 really impressive candidates. I hope I can measure up. My name is Char Wise. I'm running for Gettysburg Area School Board. My wife and I have lived here for 25 years. We've raised 3 kids, put them through K through 12. So I'm familiar with the school district from that angle. I have been a professor of economics at Gettysburg College for all of these 25 years, and a little bit of professorship before that. So I've been in higher education, for the last 30 years or so. So I'm a rookie as far as the political world is concerned. I have not run for office in Gettysburg before. I have sort of poured my efforts into work at the college. I've been sort of a leader of faculty of sorts at the college. I have chaired many departments. I have chaired many faculty-wide committees. I have been an advocate for the students, for my fellow faculty members, and for the college. And so I've done that a lot, and I've learned that I'm kind of good at some of that. I'm good at running a meeting. I'm good at listening to people. I'm good at caring about every single person who works at Gettysburg College, who studies at Gettysburg College. And so I guess it occurred to me that maybe this is the time to step out of that environment and go into my community, Gettysburg Area School District. So, and especially at this moment, I mean, I think it's always important that people who are have principals and a certain amount of talent and smartness and honesty step forward to be leaders of their community. And I think it's really important right now with what's going on, in Washington. The things that are happening that may affect Gettysburg Area School District in terms of, we talked about the budget, that's hugely important. The immigration issue, the trans rights issues, there are all sorts of ways that the federal government may be putting pressure on Gettysburg Area School District. And I think we need, people at the school board who are sensible and principled and compassionate, and will stand up for people who can't stand up for themselves. And so I think that's what's motivating me to run. What is my philosophy? I guess I've learned a few things teaching at Gettysburg College, and I think some of them apply to my understanding of Gettysburg Area School District. I have always been a strong advocate of putting power and decision-making authority in the hands of the people who are doing the job, doing the work. I resist sort of top-down direction, moving people around like chess pieces, although I'm a chess player, so go figure. I think if you want, the key to a good education, I know that university education is much different from K through 12. I don't know how K through 12 teachers do that. They're saints. So there are differences, but I think that there are some common themes. Teaching happens when a student makes a connection with a teacher. Education happens when a student makes a connection with a teacher. It relies on good teachers caring about the students, and doing their jobs the way they're trained to do, and having the freedom to do their jobs the way they're trained to do. And so my philosophy would be to put power in the hands of the people doing the work, the teachers and the other staff, the coaches. Trust them to do the good job, monitor, hold them accountable for results, but not to have sort of top-down decision-making. And one of the things that Dale mentioned right off the bat, the coaching situation, I think is an example where the school board today is sort of, for some reason, micromanaging. And I think it comes from a kind of, the origin of the policy is a fairly bad place. But it reflects a certain lack of trust in the superintendent, in the principals, in the athletic director, to make the decision about who's going to be the coach. So we hire these people, we give them authority, we trust them, we monitor them, we hold them accountable, and that's the way I think that the education system will work best. So I'm Char Wise. I'm running for a school board. You can vote for all of us. I think everybody here is really great.
First, thank you for inviting me to come and speak this evening. My name is Justine Sig, and I'm excited to be running for school board. I believe in public education, and I have been teaching for 17 years. Like Kathleen said, business person turned educator, right? Because my degree is actually in business. I started with my degree in human resources and then got my teaching certificate at Gettysburg University and went back to school and got my master's degree from Mount St. Mary's. So I believe in public education, and I think that running for a school board is something that I can do at this point in my life and volunteer my time to come back and be a part of the community in a different way. I taught at the high school here for 12 years. Awesome place, great place to learn is the slogan, and I truly believe in that. I am deeply rooted in the community. My family moved here in 1991, so I've lived here growing up. My dad was a teacher at Fairfield, and Then I had the opportunity, like I said, to start teaching here in 2012. And I just think that education is so important for our youth, and being able to help make the right decisions is something that I'm interested in now in my life. My husband and I are both Gettysburg graduates, and we have 2 children that are currently coming through the district. My daughter is at the high school, and my son is going to be at the high school next year. So as a parent, teacher, and community, I've seen firsthand the impact that education has on our youth. And I've also seen where I think it can grow. I'm excited for Dr. Matzner, our current assistant superintendent. I believe he's in his 2nd year, and he's going to start his 3rd year as our superintendent next year. So I think that this is an exciting time for our district to have him as our new superintendent. And if elected, I have 4 priorities. Student success is always number 1, right? Because our students are most important in the district, making sure that we give them all of the opportunities to be successful in their future. I also think that being financially responsible and transparent in the way that things are communicated to our community is very important. Everyone wants to know how tax dollars are being spent, and I think that we do a good job of that. I have attended the past few school board meetings and listening to the budget and getting to see the slides that Belinda shares. I think that we do a good job, but we know that we're in tough times right now with education, so it's really important for that transparency. Supporting our teachers and staff within the building, I think it's important for professional development, to make sure that our staff and our teachers in every building at every level have the resources that they need. I love careers, so my degree is in business. I was a business education teacher. I'm still a business education teacher. And seeing Franklin Township, I think it was 2 weeks ago, had mock interviews for the elementary students. I taught careers at 10th grade, and we had mock interviews, and we had students go on job shadows, and those were exciting times. To see that being pushed down to the elementary level is like, yes. Right, these exciting things that we're doing in our district. Today, they had the milkshakes, right? And they're doing business stuff with these kids. And then they had, at the elementaries the other day, they were doing stuff with math and with opening day of baseball. And I know they have March Madness stuff going on, and hearing about math curriculum and how that's developing at the middle school level. There's a lot of excitement and a lot of opportunity for growth. So I am honored to now be at a point in my life where I can volunteer my time and come back to the district that I love. And going back to that slogan, you know, it's a great place to learn. It's a great place to be a part of. It's a wonderful community. The teachers, I can say, at the high school are amazing. And I'm just excited for the opportunity and hope for your vote on May 20th. So thank you.
Okay, thanks to all of you. You did a great job staying on time. I think it probably is easier if you stay seated if you'd like to come up to ask a question. If not, I'll try to briefly paraphrase the question just so our viewers at home, we have community media, and forgive my lack of manners earlier. Thank you, community media, for coming out. Okay, great. So
well, first of all, thank you to all of you. My husband served on the Gettysburg School Board for 12 years, and we both agreed it was probably the best form of community service he could ever engage in. You know, so I'm not here for him tonight. I'm here for me. What's happening in the federal government is scary. What's happening in the Federal Department of Education is probably some of the scariest stuff we have ever seen. A couple of you tonight had alluded to the fact that the funding may go away. And in school districts across the state, federal funding accounts for anywhere from 7 to 10% of a school district's financial plan every year. So I think the threat is real, that the funding may go away, but some of the mandates may stay. So I think, Kathleen, you were the one who alluded, and I'm not sure what the number is in the Gettysburg Area School District, anywhere from $1 million and above, right? I'm not sure if they're in the 7%, 8%, 9%, 10% range there. $1 million is a lot to make up, especially in school finance where you can only raise taxes so much because of Act 1 index, right? Those rules of engagement that were put in place years ago. So here's the question. If you are forced to make up the deficit, where will you start and why? Whoever wants to, and I'm pretty passionate about this, and I think this is the elephant in the room. This is the most important question, because look, it's like crazy things are happening, and it's not going to change anytime soon. And when you're talking about decimating the Federal Department of Education, you know, even though promises have been made that the money will be protected, right? And you have to remember, federal money goes to our most vulnerable students. It's your title funding. It's your ESL funding. It's your special ed funds. So I got to ask the hard question tonight. And I think all of you were up to the challenge to giving a really good answer, because you wouldn't be sitting in this chair right now if you hadn't given it thoughtful consideration about why to run for school board during this time. Okay.
I'm going to stand up since I don't think you can see me from down there. Julietta Bose again, the one with the program management experience. Budget cuts for my life. And the way we would look at that is, number one, safety. We would always look at the safety. So I'd be looking at the safety of our students and the faculty and staff. Number two, we would have to make sure we supported state and federal law. And all the things that you mentioned them are still law. We still have to support that. Then after that, you have to look at the courses that benefit most of the students and be able to take care as much of the students as possible. Maybe sometimes we would alternate years for class or events. We'd alternate years for events. And then from there, once we know these are the must funds, is how I would always have my bill. I would always have in the back of my mind, what are my must fund items? And then from there, we look at the possibility of tax. Okay, if we did classes every other year, or if we had the teachers go to courses every other year, what are ways that we could minimize these? And sometimes I would have to say no to my people and say, we just don't have the money. And that would be more for the non-mandatory, non-critical. They're good to have, they help our students, but they don't need it today for their future life. And then we would look to see how we could bring it back. If with the funding we get to a certain point, we fund our things, and then we save some money. We found savings, and then we could ride it into the next year. And one of the things I have to say, as I watch the Gettysburg School Board, they're very good at doing that. They will raise the taxes, and people grunt and everything. Then the next year, they were able to save some money. They were frugal with their money. So they raised the taxes not as much. And they were able just to meet the budget. The next year, there'd be no tax raise. Of course, you're starting back, and then again, that pattern would go. And I think that's probably what we'll be going through also.
Thanks, Julietta. Kathleen Pratt again. I think we all know that a school budget, and ours is now somewhere around $75 or more million a year. It's not the same as managing our household budget. It is not the same. It is a multi-pronged, complicated effort. So, to answer your question, change. change management. There's really a way to manage change. Change is never easy. And in what you're talking about, this change can be really painful. But there's a way to manage change. And the way I think is the best way to manage change is participatory management. So, my best answer for you tonight, what I would be dedicated to doing as one of 9 board members, is pulling together the stakeholders in our school district. Have a representative from the teachers union. Have a representative from different parts of our school district that are really impacted by our budget. Begin the conversation. It's a holistic look at, okay, folks, here's the hit we're taking. Let's talk about how we manage it together. It is truly doing this together. Does that mean that will make the change any less painful? Actually, it might, because we've made this decision together. Does it mean everybody will get everything they want? No, that's hard. But we've made the decision together. And I think real leadership is about that participatory leadership. Who's next?
Yes, yes. Too often, raising taxes is the knee-jerk reaction. That should be the matter of last resort. Now, I don't have the answer, but maybe it's time we start looking for alternatives to funding schools and not just raising taxes.
I am saying yes, yes, and yes as well. This is a very difficult time for us. I'm a firm believer that a school board needs to be transparent. There needs to be huge problem solving on that board, and we are running into a very tough time. So without cooperation from every stakeholder, the whole way from the top administration, the school board, down to staff, down to students, and down to our community, we need to have everybody involved in some of these decisions, because yes, it is going to be a very difficult time, but it's not. It is achievable. We have to achieve. It's for our kids. We have to. Anybody else?
I don't have any answers. All of those answers sound great. I guess I am more willing maybe to take the hit in terms of higher taxes. I mean, I think that education is the most important thing that a community does. And I would not hesitate in a budget crunch to go, to taxes. That said, another hopefully what happens is the state comes in with some emergency funding. This is going to be a hit if it happens. If the Title I funding and all that disappears, it's going to be something that the state is going to have to work on. So I would hope that the school board, our school board, and other school boards are lobbying the state to bring relief from the state. Going back again to Gettysburg College, we have been facing budget cuts for since 2008. It's been tough times, and it is very difficult. I don't know the budget, the Gettysburg Area School Board budget, so I can't give you any details about which program is a waste of money. But I think there are small savings to be made just about everywhere. I mean, no ship is completely tight, and so there is some combination of finding savings in each department, finding getting support from the state, raising taxes, maybe raising private funds. I mean, maybe there's some kind of emergency, the community bands together and funds some programs that need that are desperately needed. I'm especially worried, I think, about the food programs, which are sort of separate from the budget, and that affect a lot of the students who go to Gettysburg Area School District. So it's going to be tough. And I don't have the answers, but I'm a learner. I'm a quick learner, I guess.
I also don't have the answer, but I think that a lot of what I think that what we can do is hold more forums for our community. I think that how our school board operates, when the community can come in and we can speak at school board meetings, if we can do that more often as a community and let all of our stakeholders be part of the decisions that are being made with cuts, because it is inevitable at this point with the funding, lack thereof, and cuts that we're seeing. I think that every program that our district offers is really important. I don't think that just, the core content is important for our students. I'm a business teacher. So I think that every program that's offered is important for our students because everybody's different and everybody has different needs. So I just think it's tough and hard decisions. I think that the change would have to happen, is going to have to happen. But I think that having everybody on board and trying to make those tough decisions, even though it ultimately comes back to administration and the school board to make those decisions, making sure that everybody feels like they're part of that decision making is important.
Thank you. I appreciate your answers.
Hi, I'm Doug. We retired here 10 years ago, so don't know too much. My question to the, oh, by the way, and I was retired exec in a financial services business, retired 10 years, and in 10 years is probably 2 lifetimes in the financial services area. And back then, the phrase was, when I retired, if your job could be replaced with an algorithm, you won't have a job. And then there's predictive analytics. Now we have artificial intelligence and 3D printing. And the curriculum, my question is, the curriculum has a certain inertia. You're still teaching French? Is that true? What? Sorry, that's just, it's like, hey, and I was born in French Canada, but like, my question was, what as school board members would you do to change the curriculum to make sure that the students are better prepared for the world that has changed so much and is going to be changing so more rapidly than anything we've ever seen? That's my question.
Kathleen Pratt, thank you again for that question. Well, thank you the first time. Thank you for that question. I'm here to tell you, I'm really impressed with our teachers. I think we are so fortunate. When my husband and I were living in Philadelphia and Gettysburg had reached out to Mark and offered him a position here, we had a 2-year-old and I was about 8 months pregnant with our second child. And the first thing I did was research the public schools in Gettysburg. First thing I did. And I was pretty happy then with what I saw. And I will tell you, well, if you don't know me, I'm very nice, but I'm very much a critically thinking person. And I was like, all right, this is good. And then actually experiencing the public schools, my God, my children had amazing teachers. They had amazing opportunities in this small community. We're really fortunate. My son actually was learning 3D printing when he was in high school, like 10 years ago. So we've got great stuff going on. But to really answer your question, I think there's opportunity on the school board to have a committee that's called a curriculum committee. Not for the school board members to do a top-down, here's what you need to do. Our teachers have been hired because they are experts in what they do. And we trust them. They've been vetted. You don't get a job very easily as a teacher in our school district. It's really tough to get in. We pick good ones. But I think then we could have a curriculum committee and there could be conversation and the board can offer support for teachers to have more opportunities, maybe for cutting edge things in their classroom, which I know they would want and they do want and they do. So I think that's one way. I think, again, it's a partnership, the board with the teachers. Thank you.
Julietta Bose again. Excellent idea with the curriculum. I believe they already have that. If I recall, in one of the past school board meetings, they actually had listed, or else I Googled it on the website, the curriculum for the high school. And I was amazed. They are teaching all sorts of current things. Also the VOTech school. They are looking to be as modern as possible so that those students that graduate, about half of them, go directly into the workforce certified with today's needs. And you joke about French, but having a second language helps your mind to connect dots when different things happen, especially a Romance language, which has a Latin base. And if you ever go to a doctor and they start spouting all their words, if you have a little bit of a Latin background, you kind of know what they're talking about it before you go to med ed and try to figure out what is it that they were talking about. So I think the school's doing a good job. Always there's improvement. Always there's something we can do better. But if you come to the board meetings, they have these special spotlight events. And the students come in and they show what they do. And a couple times back, the students literally made these little pins. One had LED. The other one, they learned sewing skills because an old skill, but it's still something that needs to be done. So I think the school's done a pretty good job on that.
We have at Gettysburg, we have a director of instruction, Ann Baum, and she's pretty amazing at what she does. So I think that to answer your question, how we continue to work on curriculum, it is an ever-changing curriculum that the district works with. And like I said earlier, I know like the math curriculum is being changed at the middle school next year. So I think that Gettysburg is doing it right. And I think that all of the programs, again, that we offer are wonderful. My daughter's taking French, so I think French is great. But I do think that the district does a good job with curriculum and preparing all of our students for their futures, because as I also said earlier, everybody has their own path and they all want their own future. So it is the educator's job to teach the curriculum, but we also have an ever-changing curriculum to make sure that Gettysburg students are learning the newest and the greatest things that we can provide them with.
Char Wise again. So I too was going to stand up for French. I took French in high school. One of the great things about new technologies, especially coding, software, is that it's not expensive for a school district because so much of it is free. I mean, any student who wants to learn Python can do it with free educational, free tutorials. They need a computer, but keeping up with that technology is not a difficult thing for a school district to do. You don't even need to do it in the school district. A lot of students do it on their own. They're just interested in coding. So that opportunity is there. But one of the things that schools have to do is to give students the knowledge and the resources to understand the technological change that's happening to them. I mean, it's not just being able to code. It's sort of understanding the implications of that for your life, for society, and sort of be able to critically evaluate it. And so, that's really important. A lot of reading. I would emphasize. I'm not intimately familiar with every aspect of the curriculum, but what I would say is students need to read. One of the things is, as a college professor, I see sort of the output from the public schools and private schools around the country. And so I get a sense for what really academically gifted students can do and can't do. And I would say that one thing that I would strongly be interested in facilitating is reading more, reading whole books. I was always frustrated by the sort of the 5-paragraph essay and the little passage that you read for comprehension. Kids need to sort of immerse themselves in a book, in a real book, and things like that. That kind of liberal artsy, soft, not marketable skills, but understanding the world around you is so important.
Yes. The foundation for a good curriculum, regardless of what it is the people that are delivering it. So one of the first things we would have to do is make sure we recruit and retain a diverse teaching staff. Make sure they're trained on the new curriculums. Once you do that and you're supporting your teachers, any curriculum you hand those teachers is going to be delivered in a positive way for the students.
And I'm going to agree with what you just said. You okay? Gettysburg has always, as far back as I can remember, had a priority of highly effective teachers in every single classroom. And we have that. And so any curriculum you hand to them, any change you have to make with them because of budget cuts or whatever it is, they'll do it. It's a very strong staff of people and very highly qualified. And just to answer your reading question, in the elementary grades right now, they're doing a new program they've done for 2 years now. Everything is read in, like all of your content is read in reading. So there's a lot more reading going on, not just to read stories. There's a lot of content being taught there, so maybe that makes you feel better.
Okay, take back everything I said.
Okay, I think we just have time. We have one last audience member who I think has a comment for maybe everybody in this room. And then I'll give everybody a chance to share your contact information or if you have websites and so that people can follow up with you.
Good evening. My name is Cynthia Cogswell. I'm a transplant. I've lived in Gettysburg 8+ years. I've come from New Jersey, Virginia. This is my 11th state. Many I've lived in more than once. I raised 4 children. They all went to college, and they all took different avenues in life. But I would say, as a parent, as a citizen, and as a community member, things that are important to me in schools that I think that you could all consider and have probably thought about and would support are security. Security for our buildings, our students and our teachers, and our programs. Arts. A lot of times the first thing that people cancel are arts programs, and they're essential for a whole person. There are many people that have a different, they're not STEM people. They have to have an outlet, and my friend in New Jersey is an artist, and she says, art will save us all. Sports. I think sports programs are essential for developing young minds and bodies. Foreign languages are important in this global world, and that life skills are essential, and I think that's something that a lot of students don't get enough of.
Okay, thank you so much. With 2 minutes remaining, do any of you have websites or anything that's easy for people to take down? Okay, and this is recorded, so you can go back and refer to this later. So please use the mic so that this is captured.
This will be real easy. Everybody see Bonnie Grady after this? You can go to my website, which is dalebrennanforschoolboard.org.
And I don't have a website, but I do have an email, and I'll place that. Can I place that on your website? Or is that okay to do it that way, or just give it now? I can give it now.
Probably give it now because
Sure.
not everybody, if you don't mind.
Oh, I don't mind at all. No.
Okay.
Nope. I just don't want it written on bathroom walls anywhere. Okay. No. That's an old joke, I know. Okay, my email is Harrison, HARRISOND, for Donna, 313@outlook.com. Please feel free to email me.
My husband, Mark, has got some of those fancy little cards if you would like to take one. And I have an email on that card, but I will spell it for you. It's my last name, which is Pratt, P as in Paul, RATT, the number 4, GASD, @gmail.com. But Mark, will you stand up so people... Thank you all.
Hi, I'm Julietta Bowes. I have some cards for people, but for those that are outside in the ether, I have an email address. It's JULIETABOOZ, as in zebra, FORGASD @gmail.com. Thank you.
It's been a really rough semester for me, so I don't have a website and I don't have little cards. I do most of my public communication by Facebook. So if you find me on Facebook, I can. That's sort of my venting. But my email. So my name is Charles Lewis, Louis Wise, Weise. So charleslewiswise@gmail.com.
I have a Facebook page, Justine Sig for Gettysburg School District, for Gettysburg School Board. Oh gosh, you'll just have to search. Jess, what is it? Justine Sig for Gettysburg School Board. Jess is my campaign manager. So SIG is spelled S as in Sam, I-E-G. People spell that wrong a lot. So it's S-I-E-G. I guess I have an email too. It's my first and last name at iCloud.com if you want to email me.
How did I forget about my Facebook page? Yes, you can find me there too, Kathleen Pratt for Gettysburg School Board. Thank you.
I will be very brief. My name is Betty Baker. I have been in education all of my life. My parents were in education. I've been a building principal, an assistant superintendent of schools, the director of curriculum, child study team director, X, Y, and Z. Morristown Township Public Schools, which is the top 10 in New Jersey. My question is, and I'm hoping, and I'm going to give you the charge to tell me why we only have one African American, two at the most, in the Gettysburg Public Schools. When I first came here 20 years ago, Betty Myers was the only black that was a teacher in the school system. That's something we have to address. I have a doctorate from Columbia. I've been in this stuff all of my life. And so I'm discharging you, if you do not mind me giving you a charge, to work on that. It's very important. We need diversity here in Gettysburg. Thank you.
Can I just make a quick comment? In being a person who hires people, I never got applications. So that's something I think that the district needs to go out.
Right. And this is a great question. I appreciate it. I'm sorry, to be respectful of everybody's time, some people have already been here in this very warm room for 2 hours. Most of us have to go to work tomorrow or attend to other things. Thank you for coming out. Good luck to all of our candidates, and don't forget to vote.